You've got a live fish on the hook, someone that's interested in buying your product. You give them a quote or some information, and then where do you go from there? Closing the deal. It can be a little daunting. Along with Kat Paz in the studio today, we've got Janine Davison, Sales and Marketing Champion, to help us get some sales runs on the board. Welcome to Taking Care of Business, Janine.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
What a pleasure. We're excited, aren't we, Kat?
Yes, I am. I am totally excited. Oh, my God. Because this is relevant to me.
It's relevant to pretty much everyone in small business. You get somebody excited. This is great. Wow, I've set up the Facebook page and the business page, and somebody's asked for a quote. I've given it, and then you don't hear back from them.
Sinking feeling.
And you get that, I'm not a salesperson. I forgot that I have to sell my product.
That's definitely right. I've always said to my clients that if you're in business, you're in sales. And a lot of people do struggle with that concept because they think like being a salesperson is a manipulative role. It has some negative connotations with it. So, showing people that if you're in business, you are actually in sales. They're learnt skills.
Absolutely. How do you change your mindset? Because I know it happens to me as well. Going, I feel like a salesperson, which is not a bad thing, but
well, look, that's a great question. But the reality is that it's sales. It is a manipulation, and that's where people feel uncomfortable with it. You are. The reality is, if you're in business, you're actually making somebody. You're trying to sell something and you want someone to buy that from you, you are manipulating them on some level. But it's the level which we will talk about later on today, which is there's a comfort level where the people ask the questions. They're able to introduce themselves, they're able to handle basic inquiry. But when it comes to the point where they are...
Go for the kill.
Yeah, that's right.
like a lion on the savannah.
Yep, that's when it counts.
So where do people have most problems when it comes to sales?
Look, asking the questions that they need to ask to move that client along a bit further on the buying journey. So I work off of a principle called the buying journey, where someone becomes or starts as ignorant and unaware, then they become curious with your advertising, and then you're handling that inquiry. And then what happens is once you've got your initial inquiry out the way, which is probably just the questions you need to know to see if someone's able to do business with you, and that can be affordability or timing or anything like that, then what happens is the person doesn't know what to do next, so they often do nothing, and that person's gone.
Stuck in your head. That's what I do. And then my other cat starts to go, you suck at this.
Yep.
And it's been 2 weeks. Oh, my God, imagine calling after 2 weeks. What's wrong with you?
It is. It's right. And what happens is people, they feel like they shouldn't ask that question because their mindset says, they're probably busy or they're probably going to say no or any of that. And that's where the money is. If you go there, that's where the sale is.
So don't worry about being pushy.
It's not about being pushy. One of my clients recently just said, do I have to find my inner bitch? And I said, absolutely not. It's not about that at all. It's just really about asking if you've set your business up, you've invested your time and money in your business, people expect to be sold to. And we were talking about this at Monday Marketing Matters, is that if someone inquires via the email, on the phone, via Facebook, it's like they've walked into your store and they're expecting to be sold to. So sell to them.
That's true.
That's the reality of it. And people stop because they think, I shouldn't be saying that. Ask the question, you'll probably get a much better result.
So it's more asking questions than talking, so to speak, like making the prospect realise that
right,
you
Kate.
came to me because there's a problem here.
Yeah, it's never about you and your products. It's always about asking the question to the consumer to see if they're a good fit for your business. Can they afford you? Is the timing right? Do the products suit what they're actually really looking for? It's all the basic things, but people sit there and what they do is they download all the information about themselves, and you can actually be talking people out of doing business with you. Where if you're inquired about my services, I need to know that you're a good fit for my business. Are you someone who's going to refer me? Are you someone who's even interested in what the full packages that I offer?
That's actually important. The tire kicker / low-hanging fruit syndrome, right. I call it. Because when you start out, you're just going for anybody.
That's right.
And I had a mentor who said low-hanging fruit is low-hanging for a reason. It can't be picked. so it stays
it shouldn't
on
be picked.
No, it shouldn't be picked.
More like it. But it is because what happens is when you're out in business, you are looking for anybody who might want what you've got. But the reality is and Kat, we've talked about this before, it is about respecting how you work. And if you have a clear vision and a clear way that you do business and respect how you work, the business actually finds you a whole lot easier.
I guess also you've just put quite a different spin on it when you've talked about telling people, making sure that they're a good fit for your product, because whenever you tell anyone about you and your product, it's not just that you're selling to them. They may then recommend you to other people.
That's right. And I think, look, if you think at normal networking events, we've all been around those people that you meet and you think, wow, if I never meet them again, I'll be just fine, because all they've done is just talk about themselves the whole time. And I always use the analogy as if you went to a wedding and you're sitting around a table with your partner and you meet a couple that all they did was talk about themselves, you'd go, oh my God, how painful were they?
Oh, the DJ's on.
Yeah, got to go on the dance floor. But if you met someone at that same table and they were asking about you and how do you know the bride and groom and stuff, you'd think, oh, wow, they're really nice. But in business, everyone's so antsy to just download what they do and everything on everybody, thinking that's people need to know. But they don't. They don't need to know everything about everything you do. It's your job as the business owner, to make sure that they understand that they need to be a good fit for your business.
Fantastic. So let's put a scenario in here. Okay. Say somebody's contacted you on email or a message on Facebook and they've asked about a product or service or whatever it is. And you've given them the whole spiel, said, like, well, we do this and this and it's going to cost this much. And they say, great, that's great. Thanks for that. I'll consult whoever it is and I'll get back to you. And you don't hear from them for a week. What happens then? What's the first step you need to take?
The first step is you shouldn't have given them a whole big spiel in the first place. The first step is to always engage a new inquiry with questions to that person. So if someone's inquiring about my services, for example, I need to know, are they motivated? Are they looking for an online program so they can do it after hours? Are they looking for a casual hourly rate for coaching? What do they need? Can I help them? Can we work together? Are we a good fit?
What about if it's something like a product, like a cake? Somebody's asked for a quote on a big fancy, say, wedding cake. Yep. And so you've given the spiel, like we can do chocolate or banana or, vegan or gluten-free. And, for this many people, you've said that you're going to have 200 people, it's going to be this price.
Yep.
So you've given them that kind of a spiel and haven't heard back from them.
Okay. Well, that, again, a great question. I would actually just look at first just identifying the affordability, the time, obviously all those sort of questions that you need to know up first. And then you're going to go looking at why they came to you in the first place. Like, were they shopping around on price? Were they, one of the biggest things we teach is that if you're selling, it doesn't matter what you're selling, but if you're saying the same thing and advertising the same way as everybody else, you actually force the consumer to shop around on price. Because you're all the same. And so if you've done something different and they've found you, you've got to make sure that you actually ask them, like, what brought you to me? What made you come back? And if they're shopping around on price, there are all those people, like Kat mentioned before, tire kickers still that can only shop on price because they only have a certain amount of money, but that doesn't mean they're your clients. And you've got to. It really is about respecting how you work.
So giving each other a chance. You might think, oh, tire kicker. I used to be very aggressive and straight away go tire kicker. Then I realized they were just ignorant about what I do. And Google seemed to give them an idea of what I do. So starting off with, thanks for the call. This is amazing. Do you mind if I ask a few questions? And then
absolutely
go into that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that comes down to the closing process. But I was just thinking before, when you said something before, Kat, is that especially on Facebook, it annoys me when people actually ask for, is there any cheap carpenters out there, or is there? And I'm thinking, wouldn't you want to ask for the guy who's going to do the best job, for the best price, rather than just go straight out asking for
all the small business owners out there, they're all rolling their eyes now. Like, is there a student out there, or someone like, oh my goodness, They don't ask
especially
about quality.
It's like a trade. Like, do you want the cheapest, nastiest person building something for you? No, you don't.
No.
It's probably not going to get you the best results.
And sometimes insurance won't pay out, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Because they find out that the person that did the work wasn't qualified. And that's on you, the consumer.
Yeah.
Great. So we've been talking about quality and asking people about what they want before you even enter into a price. So I guess that way, if you've asked them what they've wanted before you've given a price, that also sets up some parameters for you to give them some options.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really like Kat was saying before with regards to there's 4 steps to closing a sale. And so when you get that first inquiry, the first one is all about thanks and acknowledging them. So just letting them know they've come to the right place. You've asked a few questions. They seem like they're the right client for you. Let them know, give them some assurance that they've come to the right place. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is asking some qualifying questions to clarify if they're a good fit for you. And that's really, really important. You don't want to do a big spiel on someone only to find out they're not ready to buy for 6 months or they've got no money or whatever it is. You need to find some questions out to see if they're a good fit. Once you've got those questions in place and you're ticking boxes as you go, the next step is asking about the next step, telling them what they need to do if in fact they are going to do business with you. A lot of business owners really miss that step because they're so busy talking about themselves. They don't realise that person, you could be talking with them all day and you really just don't get to the point where you say, look, if we're going to be doing business together, here's what needs to happen next.
So like what do you mean? Like here's what happens next? Here's some paperwork to fill out or?
Yeah, look, if you might be, I train on knowers, thinkers and feelers, which is, if anyone's ever done any disc profiling, the old disc profiling, knowers, thinkers and feelers is a dummies version of understanding whether the person you're dealing with is kind of in a hurry and I'm a knower, for example, okay? Yeah. So it doesn't mean I'm a know-it-all. What it means is that if I go to buy Kat's services, I've already researched her, I've done the stuff. So if she's talking to me and handling my inquiry and she wants to send me information and stuff like that, the last thing I want is to read
more
through.
Info.
I don't want the information because I feel like I've already researched it already.
So that's something a thinker would prefer.
Yes,
they
Kat.
probably have researched, but then they're happy to still get that brochure and all
Kat
of
knows
that.
a little bit about thinkers, don't you, Kat?
I'm in the industry full of them.
Yeah. So the knowers, thinkers and feelers. So it's just identifying the type of person that you that is buying from you. But it's asking them, telling them what the next step is. A lot of people are ready to buy and there's that quiet moment where they're going, okay, like what do I need to do next? And you'll say, look, are you happy for me to send you some more information or have you heard enough? Or do you, is there a link that I can send you or, is there any reason why we can't get this started today? And that question in itself sends a shiver up a lot of people's spine
I really liked those phrases that you just used just then. Is there any reason why we can't get this started? Do you need me to send you more information?
Yeah. And that's important but you can only say that when you've asked all the questions that you need to ask. So, I was in real estate for 10 years and we were trained that way. Like the only way you can say, is there any reason why we can't get this property listed today is because you've asked all the questions to make sure they're a good fit moving forward. So that's what it comes back to, that very starting point where you stop talking about yourself and what you do, engage with your customer or potential customer and just ask the questions that you need to see if they are an actual good fit for your business. There are some people that just aren't. And, you have to make that call. Do I, Kat and I were talking before, and when it comes to discounting, like if the only way that you can get business is to discount yourself, that's crazy because we call it dropping your pants for business, which is a terrible expression. But
it does leave you exposed.
It does leave you exposed, that's right. But we would rather you add value to your service or product than discount. And that's what we teach because it's just discounting just means that you have no respect for your service or product. And if you don't, how can you expect others to do that? Like it's just...
I just had a thought process there. So if you discount for this prospect, they might forget that you discounted for them, It happens in friendships when you do these favors for people.
Yes, that's right.
And then they start to refer people to you based on the discount. That's a nightmare, isn't it? It just hit me just then, yeah.
You're cutting yourself out of a lot of money there just by doing that.
And you get miserable in your business because you're like, why are all these people calling for a cheaper price?
That's it. No, I think that's the quote of the day. So add value, don't discount your price.
Yeah.
Everyone's writing down that, put that
Don't
on the
drop
fridge.
your pants, everybody.
Don't drop your pants.
But it's the add value.
Yes.
That's a great concept. Add
It
value
is.
rather than reduce your price.
And there's often things it can be an extension of time. It could be an extra product. It could be someone else's product. Like you can bundle it. So, say for example, if I was to offer, if someone was buying coaching services and they say, oh, well, that's too expensive or whatever, I say, well, look, if you considered this option, well, then I can give you $100 off the people who do websites for me or something like that, where we can bundle it up to say,
Yes.
well, you're going to need a website anyway. Look, we can do this for you. So it might be a joint venture, not necessarily from your own business.
So almost concierged through
Yeah,
the
a
service.
collaboration.
Yeah.
That's a real win-win, and somebody else gets
Absolutely.
because often things like websites or something else, or
virtual assistants. I have a lot of joint ventures with people that do. A joint venture, by the way, for the people who don't know, is a business that you collaborate with that doesn't do what you do but has the exact same target market.
so like florists and wedding cakes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hair, makeup, all those sorts of ones all together, and you just make sure that even everybody has. I get asked all the time for certain things, so I don't do it. So it pays me to know someone who does, and then we can joint venture and do collaborations and value-added bundles and things for clients.
And that's actually also a really great way to add value, is to know all of these other complementary businesses.
Yep.
As well.
Absolutely. And you do that through networking.
Yeah.
And networking is you're actually 6 times more likely to get business from someone who's met you. But again, if you're going to networking events and shelling out your cards and talking about yourself, that's not the way to do it. You go there, have your cards with you, have a listen to see who's a good fit for your business, and then buy them a coffee if it turns out they are on another occasion. Don't go there to just be a card collector and spam everybody with their emails. And, it's an old way of doing business, and it appears very desperate as well.
Fantastic. So now to summarise closing the deal, first thing is once you get a prospect coming in.
So, there's 4 stages. The first one is thanks and acknowledgement. The second one are questions to clarify. The third one is the next step. Tell them what they need to do next in order to do business with you. And the fourth one, which we kind of got diverted through before, is actually asking for the business. Don't be afraid to ask if they've got their credit card handy. Don't be afraid to get their details. And just on that note as well, just finally, I would say as well, please make it easy for people to pay you. The days of giving people bank account details to transfer funds into your account are just 1995. You really need to have, there's so many ways, PayPal card readers, there's FPOS, there's Square machines, there's PayPal links,
Mobile
there's so
phones.
many things now
Yeah.
that you can make it so easy for people to pay you. So please don't make it hard for people to pay you, because if it's too hard, people will do nothing.
Yeah, I've been to those places. I've got an itchy retail finger, like, I want to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes on and on. You're just like,
Cash only.
really? There's those businesses?
I'm like, I'm not that hungry. I'll go next door.
I don't know. That's great. Thank you so much for joining us, Janine Davison.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Sales and marketing champion, and wasn't she just taking care of business? We'll be back next Monday at 10:30 on RTRFM 92.1.